What up, everybody? This is yours truly, Rama Screen. Excuse me. You know what? Maybe I should tell everybody on social media that I am currently live. Um, YouTube.com/Rama Screen One, discussing Wu Assassins spoilers. Iko Uwais, Netflix. Excuse me. Wow, I just had dinner. That's why. My apologies. I had a late dinner because I was working all day. Um, so it was Panda Express, chow mein, and orange chicken. So now, if you see me burping every 2 minutes or so, I want to apologize. But hey, you know, we all got to do what we got to do. All right, so let's do this. Right now is Saturday night. What time is it? Around 10:18 p.m. So I think I'm the only one that's still up and awake. So if you guys catch this video in the morning, I totally understand. All of you guys were probably sleeping by now. But I don't want to wait till tomorrow. I want to use this time right now to discuss Wu Assassins. You may have seen my video review of this new Netflix series uh, earlier this past week, but that was a spoiler-free review. That was before the show premiered on Thursday. So I honored Netflix requests to not spill any spoilers. So that's what I did, and that's what that video was for. But now that the show has premiered on Netflix and all of you have seen it, I got so many thoughts in my head about this show. And you know what? Let's just start with, you know how I mentioned in my video that this show, in a lot of ways, looks like it arrives 20 years too late. It arrives 2 decades too late. I mean, the writing, the directing, even the fight choreographies, the scenarios, and oh my god, it looks like something out of the 90s. And I'm not just talking about like Walker Texas Ranger or Kung Fu The Legend Continues or Martial Law. I mean, I watched those shows as well. When I grew up in Asia, they had the reruns there. But I grew up watching like Andy Lau. If you don't know who Andy Lau is, look him up. He's big. He's a big Hong Kong star. One of his biggest movies was Infernal Affairs, but he also had TV shows in the 90s and other Asian stars as well, where the format and the way the story is written is exactly just like Wu Assassin. Wu Assassins, I think it's plural. So I mentioned that it's 20 years too late because if Wu Assassins premiered in the 90s, instantly it would be a big hit. No problem at all. It would fit right in with that decade and the way the whole TV shows, the TV show landscape of the 90s. It would fit perfectly right in. I said to you many times before that The Sopranos revolutionized television. It was The Sopranos that changed the landscape of television from how it was in the 90s, and years prior. It was all procedural, and it can get cheesy at times. I mean, I grew up watching Moonlighting with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. I thought it was the greatest thing ever, but I rewatched some of the episodes again. Just, I don't know, a few months ago, just out of fun online, and I was like, wow, that was cheesy. Some shows don't age well. Um, and a lot of the shows in the 80s and the 90s are like that. Um, but Sopranos came, I think it was 1999, and just broke the rules, man. It felt like you're watching long form, long form movie, but divided into sections. That's what it felt like with The Sopranos, and every other show after that pretty much tries to live up to the quality of the storytelling of The Sopranos, including Breaking Bad. I'm sorry, not Breaking Bad, Breaking Bad, and Game of Thrones. Um, for something like Wu Assassins to arrive right now, when all of us TV fans have gotten a bit more sophisticated, we have grown sophisticated in our taste for TV shows. This just doesn't fit right in anymore. It feels like something that's out of time. Out of time. That's the I think that's the license plate of the flying DeLorean from Back to the Future. Um, so yeah, I just, and you know what? It's been a while where I watch a show that the quality starts to decline halfway through, all the way to the end. Now, Another Life, which is Netflix other new show, it's a science fiction. Remember, I ripped it apart. I really hated that show, even from the get go. So from that, in that on that case, or for that case, that was not an example of a show that declines halfway through. Wu Assassins, it felt to me, because they only gave me the first 3 episodes. They did not give me the entire 10. So that review that I did for you, that spoiler free review, was only based on the 3 episodes. And I mentioned in that review, in that video, I said, you know what? I think Wu Assassins is worth watching. It's worth for you to stick around, excuse me, to see where this is going. But now I think I'm taking that back. I take back that statement, because having watched the entire 10, it was painful. It was painful because I'm a big fan of Iko Uwais. Like I said, I'm Indonesian. Iko is Indonesian. I always try to support my fellow Indonesians, and I was happy when I heard that he got this Netflix show. Right, that's a big deal. But damn, watching episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the with each passing episode, as the story progresses, I feel like it's like a knife in my stomach. I feel pain. I feel bad for Iko. It's like, oh, why did you put yourself in this situation, man? You could have done the Raid 3. Why couldn't you just do the Raid 3 instead? Because the quality, the storytelling, episode 4 and on, just went down and down and down and down. And now I've come to the conclusion that this show is pretty bad. Um, and I would be completely earth shattered, surprised, like jaw drop surprised, if Netflix, for whatever reason, decides to renew Wu Assassins for second season. It'll be like the biggest surprise of the year for me, at least. But hey, stranger things have happened, right? So let's see on my notes here. I want to talk a bit about the because remember, I only watched the first 3 episodes, and then the show premiered on Thursday, and then they show. And then I watched the entire 10, or the rest of the 7. Episode 4, when Uncle Six fights Kaijin, Iko Uwais' character Kaijin. They fight in that abandoned mall. That starts out pretty cool, in my opinion. If you watch that episode, episode 4, because by the end of episode 3. So okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Here's another spoiler. Those of you who've seen the show would know that uh, Kai inherits, I guess you could say inherits, or yeah, bestowed upon, if you will, this supernatural power from the Wu protectors, these monks. And part of that power is that wh- whenever the monk has to step in, and do his thing, he would hide Iko's image or a Kaijin's image. So the people around Kaijin could not see Kaijin. What they see is the monk. Now, in the beginning, there's a scene where Kaijin, washes up his face in the restroom, and he sees, he's shocked. He looks in the mirror and he sees um, his face as somebody else. Now, and then the second face is Mark Dacascos. Mark Dacascos, as you know, a legend. I've interviewed him before. You can watch my video interview with Mark Dacascos here on Rama Screen YouTube channel. I'll provide the link in the description box below this video. You saw Mark Dacascos on in the movie John Wick Chapter 3. That was fantastic. So, okay, if my understanding is correct here, it was supposed to be multiple monks, but throughout the show, the season, this season, um, only Mark Dacascos is the one that shows up. So I'm like, I'm confused. I was like, what happened to that other monk, that other face that he saw in that mirror? Like, how come he? Was Mark Dacascos assigned for Kaijin? I mean, is that like some kind of assignment that the other monks had to sit this? The other monks had to sit this one out. What's going on here? So that's one thing that's kind of like a little bit off to me. But back to the mall fight. It starts out fine, right? Um, Uncle Six versus Kaijin, and some of the choreographies was pretty well done, especially when they start um, when they start going up the elevator as they are beating each other up. That's pretty cool to me. Um, but if you notice, oh my god, this is why I said the show harkens back to the 90s, and maybe not in a good way. Um, Part of filming fight scenes in movies or TV shows is blocking, and then of course the editing. Um, the editing here is not as choppy, it's not as headache inducing as Mile 22. If you saw that movie, they really shot Iko Uwais' fight scene to hell. It was just terribly done. Mile 22 is the shittiest movie last year. Um, and another example of where you feel sad for Iko because he is a martial art master. You don't do that to a martial art master. Um, so in this one, it's slightly better. The way the fights are done, especially in that mall between Uncle Six and Kaijin. But if you notice, there are parts when because of the blocking, they have to, of course, have an actual stuntman in the place of actor Byron Mann, who plays Uncle Six, because Byron can only do so much as far as martial arts go. Um, and so stuntman comes in, and you just can tell, man. You can tell. Oh my god! I mean, the guy is wearing the shittiest hairpiece or wig. I mean, like so big, like it doesn't look like Uncle Six's hair from the back, because um, that's how they're done. So they don't show the stuntman's face; they show Kaijin's face for that shot. Um, And and there are instances like that. There are instances like that as well throughout this whole season. Um, Not just Uncle Six, but other characters as well. Where oh my, you could just tell like it in the '90s. In the '90s, when things are much simpler and not yet sophisticated, um, you can get away with that. You can fool people. You'd be like, "Oh, damn, Byron really, you know, Byron really took it to heart, man. Byron really got this training done right. He really lands that punch on Kaijin, because you believe that that's Byron the entire time. I like I said, I watched Moonlighting the other month. I rewatched it. I think it was the pilot episode, and Sybil Shepherd was hanging off of this giant clock, and Bruce Willis trying to rescue her, and you could just tell that was that was not Sybil Shepherd. It was just badly done. In today's world where things are just details like that would be really tended to. You know, in today's world when our eyes have gotten used to like details like that being actually looked after and actually not being treated lightly, for something like Wu Assassin to do this to us, it it hurts, man. It really hurts. Another thing, also, the scene where Kaijin's friends, when Kaijin and Catherine Winnick's character reveal to them, "Hey, this is what's going on. I have this supernatural power, and she's a cop, and we're gonna bring down Uncle Six." And at first, Tommy and Jenny and Lucian, at first they did not believe CG and Kaijin, of course. So Kaijin, Iko Uwais' character, has to literally show to them that his face can change from his face to the monk, aka Mark Dacascos. And oh man, the way it's done is so shitty. The CG, they just like change the face of, oh God, what are we, 1994? And it would not be problematic if the show, or if that scene in particular, uh, purposely wants to take things a little bit light. They don't want to take it too seriously. It would not be problem. It would not be problematic if it's meant to be comedic. But no, that's not the case. They were all serious, and he's like, "All right, you don't believe me? I'll show you the face." There's got to be a better way to reveal Mark Dacascos' side of Hyjin without being that silly, being that cheesy. I told you in my review that this show lives in the areas between cool and cheesy, but slightly leaning more towards cheese than cool. That's an example right there. When Kaijin shows, his face changes into Mark Dacascos' face. I was like, oh, that was not nicely done. You could have, the filmmakers, the writers, directors, what have you, they could have gone in a um better direction on executing that, because that's unintentionally funny right there. And oh man, okay, so another thing I have on my note is Tommy Flanagan. Tommy Flanagan is this actor. Excuse me. um if you watch Sons of Anarchy, I believe he's in Sons of Anarchy, right? Let me double check here. He's also in Braveheart. He's a very, very talented Scottish actor in Gladiator. um I think he's in Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, yep, that's right. He plays Philip, and I believe I think it's been a while since I watched Sons of Anarchy, but I think his character got killed. I think his character died in that one. You can double check it for me. But anyway, So Tommy Flanagan plays this Alec McCullough, who back in the day, back in this centuries ago in Scotland, he was chosen as the Wu assassin, but his family died in the process, and then he became a bad guy, and he lives eternally, which itself is also goes into that category of unintentionally hilarious, um, because a Scotsman living eternally. Come on now, say it with me. The Highlander, Duncan MacLeod. I mean, seriously, Wu assassins cannot get any more unoriginal. Um, so Alec McCullough halfway through becomes the big main villain. So we thought it was gonna be just Uncle Six, right? It's gonna be like the four friends, Kai Jin, Li Shun, Jenna, and Tommy going up against Uncle Six. But no, halfway through, it's Alec McCullough. I hate it when Netflix shows do that. Netflix shows, especially the Marvel Netflix shows, Luke Cage, um, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist, they're always guilty of presenting what seems to be the villain in the beginning, but then they change it halfway through. Oh, that's not the villain. This is the villain. They always do that, and I hate it. Remember Mahershala Ali played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage season 1, and halfway through, Cottonmouth got killed and then Mariah Stokes becomes the big main villain. There's another one also. I think Jessica Jones. Oh, the Defenders. The Defenders. We were told that it's gonna be Sigourney Weaver being the bad guy, but no. Halfway through, they changed it to Elektra being the bad guy. Damn you! Damn you! Damn you! Oh, and you know what? I think Byron Mann was so cool as Uncle Six. He was one of the few redeeming qualities about this show. I think Byron Mann looks the part. He plays this villainous role. He knows how to play a guy that you love to hate. That's when a villain is effective. And so for Byron Mann to not get that spotlight all the way through to the end, it sucks, man. I feel bad for him. So I respect Tommy Flanagan. Don't get me wrong. I interviewed Tommy Flanagan once. I'll provide the link to my video interview with Tommy Flanagan as well. I interviewed him on the red carpet. He had a very thick accent. I could understand a single word he was saying, but he just kept talking. So I was like, fine, whatever. I just let him chat, basically. But his character, the villain in Wu Assassins, they try to make him as invincible, as powerful as it can be. I mean, he even has healing powers. Of course, he lives eternally. He lives forever. I mean, but throughout the whole time, I'm like, I keep hoping that, why does it have to be Alec McCullough? Why can't it be Uncle Six? I mean, I thought, as an Asian, I was like looking forward to this all Asian cast thing. It's like, all right, then why do you have a white man as the villain again? Seriously, I'm not against, diversity of bringing in some other race as the villain, but I thought this was supposed to be an all Asian cast show. So that's another reason too. Like why I'm not enthusiastic about Tommy Flanagan stepping in halfway through, replacing Uncle Six as the big main villain. And another thing also that I hate is how boring many of the dialogues scenes are. Many of the conversational scenes are. For example, Kaijin and Uncle Six camping out in the woods, as they try to look for the Earth Wu. Oh my god, is so dreadful. The whole time I'm like, who writes this shit? The stuff that comes out of their mouth, it just seems so manufactured. It doesn't flow like two people, ordinary people talking. Um, the other one is I can't forget their names. Jenna, and her brother Tommy. You see that interactions between them a couple times throughout the season or throughout this show, because they have this, of course, problem with they have parents issues. Basically, both of them have parents issues. Um, yeah, and the way they argue, the way they try to rationalize each other, the way they debate. I mean, I have a sibling. I mean, I'm sorry, two siblings. I can't neglect the other one. I'm a big brother to two little sisters, and we argue sometimes. And so when we see something like the way siblings are portrayed on the big screen or on TV, we can tell, we can judge. Like, yeah, that's not what siblings would kind of say to each other naturally. It just I don't know, man. The writing is so subpar in this show. I don't know if that's intentional or maybe that's just the showrunners. That's the only skill level that they have. So maybe you gotta somehow kind of tolerate that. But again, it goes to what I said earlier. It hurts. It hurts when when you watch that sequence, knowing that it could have gone significantly better if they had just put more effort into it, more effort in the writing, most definitely. Um, so I could go on and on and on, and I don't want to, I don't want to make this a whole day thing, but those are all the notes that I have. But I just want to end with this conclusion that it, you know, in times like this, when we, the Asian community, are thirsting for a good show or a good movie that represents us either on the big screen or on TV, like Crazy Rich Asians and The Farewell, the recent one, The Farewell, did a good job as well. And on TV, if we saw that Warrior was very well made in terms of cinematography, in terms of uh, all the technical aspects of about the show, in terms of the choreographies, in terms of the writing and the directing. Warrior, makes us proud. So when something like Wu Assassins comes along, and it makes us, Asian community kind of feel like, we go back to cringing again. It's like, yeah, how when your friend embarrasses you in public, and you're like, I don't know this guy, I don't know this guy. That's how I feel about Wu Assassins. I'm like, oh, I'm Asian. This is supposed to be an Asian show, but I don't know Wu Assassins. I don't know this guy. It's just so badly made, and I feel bad for everybody involved. I mean, Catherine Winnick, her talent gets wasted here. The same goes with Summer Glau. Who Summer Glau is a geek favorite, fan favorite in the geekdom world from Sarah Chronicles, Sarah Connor's Chronicles. Remember that, the series, and of course Firefly and Serenity. So watching Summer Glau show up in Wu Assassins is like, yes, Summer Glau, yes, but her talent is wasted. She doesn't get to do much except for killing that one old dude on the table. And I'm like, why are you here, Summer Glau? Do you really need the check really bad? Are you low on cash? Um, and they have this whole big fight in episode 7, as Tommy Flanagan's character, Alec McCullough, as he enters the gate, the realms to meet his family. And we see this big fight sequence, right, between Kaijin and Alec McCullough's people versus Kaijin and Kaijin's friends. And even that is terribly done. The way that the whole thing plays out is just it when you've seen something as sophisticated as Warrior, something like Wu Assassins is like it's like taking it's like taking two steps back. Instead of forward, it's taking two steps back, and that's sad. That's really sad. It's really heartbreaking. Um, but yeah, those are all the thoughts that I have. Spoiler wise about Wu Assassins, uh, I guess I am a bit disappointed. Disappointed is the fair word to describe it. Describe how I feel about this show. Um, if this doesn't get renewed for season two, it will be totally understandable. But I also hope that Iko Uwais, if it doesn't get renewed, that Iko Uwais could get another gig on Netflix. That Netflix doesn't. I hope that Netflix doesn't give up on Iko, because I think he is a martial art master. You just gotta let him unleash, man. Let him do his thing. If you're a cameraman, go wide. If you're an editor, don't do too much stitching. Just let him do what he does best. A perfect example is that movie Triple Threat. If you haven't seen that, Triple Threat, Tony Jaa and Iko Uwais and Michael J. White, and oh man, that's fantastic. The fights there are exciting and thrilling and hardcore, and they're all well shot. They're all well filmed. Go check out Triple Threat. That is fight choreographies well filmed, well shot. That's an example right there. So, but yeah, that's it. Those are my 2 cents about Wu Assassins. If you've seen the show, do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's rock this.